All right. Welcome to this special interview session. It has become increasingly common for people to follow the student route to come into Canada, and so I'm having this interview session because within the past few days and weeks, people have asked me different questions about how to come to Canada to study. And I mean, I felt like, okay, it would actually be a better approach to have someone who is a student, right, who
Yeah.
has a hands-on experience on this to, answer some of the questions that people have asked. So this is more like a frequently asked questions about studying in Canada. And with us, we have Jude. Jude will introduce himself and then we'll go right into the different questions. And I'm sure that this will be a very, very productive and, content driven session. So, Jude, let's meet you.
Thanks very much, Joshua. My name is Jude, and I'm in my fourth year of PhD studies at the University of Saskatchewan. I came to Canada on a student visa also like 3 years ago, and I landed here as a student. I was paying international fees for a year before I decided that I was going to apply for permanent residency. And now I have a Canadian PR. So I'm really excited that I'll be sharing some of my experiences and also help answer some questions or concerns you might have.
Thank you very much. Wow. So, you came in as a student. You're
Yeah,
still a student, but
yeah,
yet you're a PR now.
yes. The
Interesting.
difference is tuition fees. I could apply for some
Oh
food.
yeah,
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 so
true, true,
yeah,
true, true, true. The benefits of being a permanent resident. Okay,
yeah,
okay. Awesome, awesome. I mean, we'll still get into those cost issues much later,
yes.
right, during the talk. But before we even get into it, let's even clear this uh, question. It's a very basic one. People have asked, is student visa the same thing as study permit? Can you help us differentiate those two? Are they the same thing or are they different documents entirely?
This is a very interesting question. People have asked me a lot of that question too, but they are not the same. So there are some countries where you don't need a visa to come to Canada. You could come visit and stay for 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Why some you need a visa to come to Canada? So let's assume you're a Nigerian now and you got admission. You would actually need a study permit to study in Canada. But the visa is going to take you from Nigeria to Canada, but you can't study with a visa. You need a study permit.
Hmm.
However, when your study permit is approved, they are going to issue you a visa, normally through the validity of your passport. But
Oh.
visa and study permit are not the same. You can have a Canadian visa,
Mm.
but not a study permit. It means you can visit Canada, can't stay more than 6 months, and you cannot study in Canada.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
interesting. I think that there's some kind of similarities with the express entry process there.
yeah,
So when you apply for your PR, you don't get your PR card outside Canada,
yes,
right? You get a visa
yeah,
that allows you one-time entry,
mm-hmm.
usually. When you come into Canada, then after some time you get your PR
Yeah,
card.
yeah,
But you don't have to apply separately for the
yeah,
visa and the PR card. So in the same
yes,
way, what I get from you is that you don't apply for the visa separately. Once you
no,
get your study permit, you will get a visa to come in.
yes,
Right.
yes.
Nice.
And then same with the PR, your study permit is usually issued when you land in Canada. So
Gotcha.
when you get to the airport and then you tell them you can get your study permit at the airport, or sometimes some people come in and go to Service Canada to get their study permit. Same as PR card, you land and you get your PR card. Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm coming from a country where I don't need a visa to come in, for example, if I'm a US citizen,
Yeah.
I can come into Canada without a visa. All I need is just a study permit.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But without that study permit, you're not allowed to study. So a US
Mm-hmm.
citizen can come without a
But cannot
visa and
study.
then, yeah, cannot study. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Okay. Now to the second question. Right. So I'll put a kind of a contest to it. So it's
Yeah.
about IELTS,
Yeah.
right? Now, when you think about express entry, since the IRCC started draws again after they stopped in March, the cutoff has been really high, above 470, right? So, people have looked for ways to other alternatives, which is why some are even considering, study now. But then there's this question around IELTS. For express entry, for you to even have a chance, you need at least an 8 in listening, 7 in writing, 7 in speaking, 7 in reading,
Yeah.
right? And that's pretty high, right? So people have struggled with it in time past, and people have been asking, okay, for study, do I need to write IELTS for student visa? And if I need to, what should be like an ideal score for me?
Okay. I've got a lot of questions like this also, but the thing is, IELTS or TOEFL is cost-based specific and institution-based. I would explain. So what I mean by that is some programs you need to take IELTS like MBA, some programs you do not, and some institution they suggest that if you are from a country that speaks English, or maybe your degree or your undergrad degree is in English, you do not need to take IELTS. I'll give you an example. My university, University of Saskatchewan, Nigerians here, they do not need to take IELTS because our study is in English. Even if you're coming from for undergrad studies, just because you did English in your work also, you waived. But people coming from other African countries might be required to take. And if that's the case, the minimum they ask for is 6.5 overall and 6 in each component. That's for the
Okay.
University of Saskatchewan. But for higher programs like medicine, dentistry, or nursing, they usually go 7 overall and 6.5. And it's pretty much the same across all institutions in Canada.
Okay. Okay. I think that's fair. Six point
Yeah.
five. I mean, compared to, although I know this IELTS Academy,
Yeah.
I don't know the difference. So I know for express entry you do general, right?
Yeah.
But for study you do academic, and I don't know how difficult one is to the other. But I mean, the score for general 8 is pretty high. So I mean, 6.5 is fair. So if I put together what you've just said, I would deduce that it's not the immigration that is asking for
No,
IELTS,
no, it's
it's
not
the
immigration.
school.
It's the school. Yes.
Oh, so I don't even need to submit my IELTS result when I'm applying for my study permit.
No, no.
It's the school when I'm applying to the
Yes.
school.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. So if a school does not need it, then I don't even need to write it at all.
Yes. You don't
Then
need to write it
it will
at
be
the
it will
school.
be necessary to then first know what the school I want to go requires, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, before you apply to a school, you, I'm expecting the person to check their website or contact the graduate administrator. There are people the university actually employs to reply email, or you could even call them directly to find out if you would be exempted from taking the English language exams.
Mm,
It's clearly stated on the website also. So
okay, okay. So I mean, when you talk about contacting the school and all of that,
yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, coming from the country where I come from, right? Um, when it comes to school, like for example, a university that's a public institution, most times there is this belief that
Mm-hmm.
schools are most of those emails are not functional. For example, government emails, for example, school emails. There's just this assumption that
Yeah.
I would rather go to the school, go to the admin session, and go and ask
Okay.
my question than actually sending an email and expecting a response.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. But look at it this way. If you want something, you have to work hard for it. And if you can't do that, there's also another option, which I also recommend is you can just search the name of the school on LinkedIn. I'm sure you will get one or two people that's attending that school. You could
Hmm,
connect with them.
fair
For
point.
every ten person you connect with, one person is going to reply. and you could just tell the person to please help me check or ask questions. You don't need to know the person. You're just asking
Mhm.
for help on LinkedIn, and it really works. So
Mm. Wow, wow, that's actually a good one. Okay, so although the point I was trying to get was, are Canadian schools responsive to their emails,
they
which
are
I want
very
to
yes,
believe they
yeah,
are. But then this angle of LinkedIn is really a very rich one, and I
yeah,
mean, I can imagine how many opportunities that I've gotten through LinkedIn.
yeah,
That is one social media platform that many people really don't, well, especially when it comes to school, people don't really look at it as a go-to place. But I mean, it's really a place to go because you have all sorts of people there,
yeah,
and most times, I mean, like you said, out of 10 people, most likely you would see one that is willing to help,
yeah,
because most times it's they are not really going out of their way. It's an information they have
yes.
readily available. So yeah, nice point, nice point. Okay, I'll go on to the next question now. And it's about money, right? So if you're coming to Canada express entry, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think for your proof of fund, you need about, for a single person, you need, I think, about 13,000, rounding it up. It's 12 something, but rounding it up to the nearest thousand, it's 13,000 Canadian dollars to come to Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for you to study in Canada, how much do you need? And
Uh,
and just to put it in perspective, right? Most times, people who are coming to study, in most cases, are usually people who have not worked for so long, right?
yeah.
So most times they are people who are still maybe dependent on their parents, or people who are just newly graduated. So it's likely there are no much in savings,
Yeah.
right? So how much do you think a person would need to study in Canada?
Okay, so I'm gonna ask this question. I just want to get it clearly.
Okay.
Is the question how much do you need to study, or how much do you need to show the immigration that's enough to get a study permit?
Okay, okay,
They are
okay,
two
okay.
different things, you know.
Yeah, yeah, true, true, true. So how much do you need? Because really the first thing most times is to come in.
Hmm.
Once you come in, you
Okay,
always have a way to sort yourself, right?
okay. So, um, how much you need is dependent on where you're going. Ontario is very expensive. Saskatchewan is very cheap. Manitoba is very cheap. BC, Vancouver is very expensive. House rent for a student here, you could get 600 basement, 500 per month. In Vancouver, you're getting 1,500 per month. In Ontario, 1,000 per month. So it differs. But I will answer your question with a general point, which IRCC suggests. Your tuition fee for a year, your tuition fee for a year plus $10,000
Uh-huh,
for single, that's the basis.
uh-huh,
So that's the minimum you need. Then if you're married and you're coming with your spouse and then kids, I think it's your tuition fee plus 10,000 for you, and plus 5,000 for any other person you're coming with.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
Then
Okay,
for other provinces, I think Ontario is 12,000. Then the ones I made sure that the cost of expenses is not much, is 10,000.
okay. I think Ontario is also 10,000 actually.
Yeah,
It's when it comes to immigration, usually I think it's Quebec that's usually the
12,000.
one that
Yeah,
stays outside others. Okay, so and I mean, just to put back some context into the expensiveness of some provinces, right?
yeah,
Um, Ontario is a big province,
yes.
right? Just like many other provinces, right?
Mhm.
And yes, there is that narrative that Ontario is expensive.
Yeah,
But if you think about it, for those of us that stay in Ontario, we know that the really expensive places are
Toronto.
Toronto and the GTAs, the you know
Yeah,
places around Toronto, Brampton, and places around Toronto, usually Greater Toronto area. There will still be. So why I'm putting this out is, don't let your hope be crushed just because Ontario is expensive. If where you're coming to, let's say for example, you're coming to study in Conestoga College in Kitchener, where I stay. right? You probably will still get an accommodation, a student accommodation for $500, for $600,
Mm-hmm.
right? And let's say you want to go to University of Waterloo, still, so why I'm putting that out is first, I think there are even different expense. I don't know if I should call them indices in terms of how cities are expensive to the other. So don't just group this for
Okay.
the viewers, right? Don't just group Ontario into one
Yeah.
box and say because Ontario is very expensive and that course you want to study is in Ontario, and then because it's expensive, you just ignore that, abandon that vision. Go ahead and look at the city that school is, and browse on the uh, how expensive that city is before you make your decision, right? Now, you've told us what we need to show the immigration guys for us to come in as a student. How much do we actually need
To survive.
to survive?
Um, you see, that question is very hard to answer because
Yeah,
most
I thought
students
I
come
thought of
here.
that too because
Yeah,
yeah, there are very, like, again you said, different provinces,
yeah,
different expense, and yeah, and
yeah,
then I think that will also depend on your style of living, right?
yeah. But there's something I want to point out. Ontario, BC, or any city you live might be expensive, but
Okay.
you have to look at the opportunities for student jobs over there
Mhm.
also.
Mhm.
And I believe most cities in Ontario have a lot of opportunities
Yeah.
for student jobs. Their minimum wage is very high.
Mhm.
So it's easier to get a job there compared to places like Saskatoon, for instance. If you're a student here and you're not getting a teaching assistantship job in the university, to get any other job as a student is very, very difficult.
Mm.
It's very
Mhm.
difficult. But I've had friends in Ontario, in Brampton, in Toronto, tell me that, oh, we have a lot of student jobs, we have a
Yeah,
lot of
a lot
off the table
actually.
jobs. So those are the advantages of places like that also. But in terms of your question, how much do you need? I would just say a rule of thumb, you make the expenses yourself. How do you do that? Just ask people living around the area how much is house rent per month. Just calculate house rent for a year. Feeding is not really expensive. With if you're single with $100 per month, you'll be fine. And transportation is usually part of tuition student fees.
Okay.
So if the person does this sort of calculations, 1 year house rent and $100 per month for feeding, I think the person can put together how much you actually need in a year to survive. That is if I don't work.
Okay. 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 Awesome. 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 And I mean, generally, people would naturally, once you are in, actually, you would be able to factor in your income versus your expenses, and then now you cut your cloth according to your coat according to your cloth, right? Okay. So, I mean, still on the money matter, the question that arises again is, okay, so can I use a sponsor's account as my proof of finance? Like, can I use my dad's account or my uncle's account to show that, okay, this money is what I'm relying on to, sustain myself in Canada?
100%, 100% you can, but um, just follow the rule of thumb. Any amount in that account has to be more than your tuition fee plus 10,000 and 12,000 in Quebec, more than that. And the cash inflow and outflow is what they are looking at. Some people just leave the amount for 3 months. No, that's not what they are looking at. They look at how much is coming in and how much is leaving. So if the cash inflow is way greater than the outflow, it helps. They also look at the person's occupation. Sometimes I've seen people that they don't really have much in the balance, but the inflow and outflow is so good, and the person's occupation is so good, so the account will go. But most times when they reject for lack of funds, it's usually because the account you are presenting, you didn't show any relationship between you and the person,
Mm,
or maybe the cash inflow and outflow, it's not bad, it's very bad, sorry, or probably because there is like a large sum of money, lump sum of money put into the account before the statement was printed out. But I always tell people there is nothing bad in using a sponsor as long as you can connect the relationship, whether your dad, your mom, your uncle, your aunt, your sister, your brother, it's fine. You can use them, and there is a good inflow of cash.
Okay, so talking about connecting relationship,
Yeah.
what do I need to present to show my relationship? So if the, for example, if my name is John Smith
Mm-hmm.
and my father is Mr. Smith, his
Mm-hmm.
account is Michael Smith,
Mm-hmm.
what else do I
So,
need to provide?
okay,
What
in my own
document?
case, I used my uncle's account, though I had a scholarship, but still, I used my uncle's account,
Okay,
and we have the same surname, we have the same last name.
okay,
That's the proof that he's my uncle. And
okay.
I also submitted like pictures of when I was doing my graduation. Though those ones might not be necessary, but it's just so that you don't give the
Yeah,
visa officer any doubt.
okay,
So I submitted proof of pictures proof, also my dad's information to connect that he is my dad's brother. I submitted
okay.
that also. That's what
So
I
what
did.
information exactly?
So in my dad used to have this. I told him to do affidavits that
Oh,
shows
okay,
that
okay.
oh, this guy is his brother.
He's his brother. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So what you're trying to do essentially is trying to clear every forms of doubts.
Yes,
So
yes,
everything you can provide just to make sure that the
yeah,
officer is sure that you're
yes.
connected. Okay, okay.
It's
Fair enough.
important to know that there is no excess information. Provide
Mm-hmm.
as much as you can. If
Mm-hmm.
possible, even write a letter because they are humans also, and then
Yeah.
they review a lot of applications. Any little doubt could lead to rejection.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right. So another question people ask is, will I need to pay my full tuition fee, before my visa is issued or before traveling? Do I need to pay everything?
Um, in my own opinion, it's no. You
Okay.
can pay your tuition here, and most schools in Canada they even do like installment payments where you pay
Mm-hmm.
monthly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they do that also. If you don't have the money, you can. The mistake people make is they believe that if I pay the tuition fee, it's 100% that my
I will get.
visa will be guaranteed. That's not true. I've had lots of people run into problem, pay the tuition, and yet the visa was rejected.
So what happens
So
in that case?
well, then you start taxing the school to they would return the money. They can't keep the money. The school will
Okay.
return the money. It might take a while. Then Nigerian banks will have to take their own courts,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Hmm. Hmm. I can imagine. So paying tuition is not a
it's not a
confirmation that you're
guarantee at all. No.
Wow, interesting, interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. Because really, I mean, you must pass the eligibility
Yeah, yeah,
criteria and all
yeah.
of that.
Instead,
So,
my advice is instead of paying that tuition, tell your mom or your dad or the sponsor to transfer the money into your own personal account and then write a letter that just to show that I am willing to support this person. I have transferred the tuition into his or her account. That one is
hmm,
better.
okay, 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 okay. Hmm. So, but then, so if the tuition is in your account, your personal account,
Yeah.
you will now be showing your account also,
And
right?
the person's
And the
account.
person's account.
Yeah, but then the person will be writing a letter
A
to that
letter.
effect that
Okay.
just to show my commitment, I have transferred these funds to the student's account.
Okay. 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 Now, yeah. So the next question I would want to ask is, timing is many things. Is about many things, right? And for many people, coming to Canada is like, I mean, for some persons rather, it's about a spur in the moment. They just like, okay, for example, if you follow the recent events in Nigeria and the kind of emotions it has,
Yeah.
driven, all of a sudden there's this huge request about, okay, which country can I go to and all of that. But then I always believe that relocation is a big decision,
Yeah.
right? And so it's not a decision you just make like this. It's something you should plan about, right?
Mhm.
So, and then in planning, you should know, okay, what are my timelines? So the question has always been, how far in advance do I need to start preparing? So if I want to school in Canada, someone chatted me up, I think 2 days ago, and said, I want to study for masters in Canada next year, and he was trying to get some tips. Okay, so the question is, how far in advance? When do I need to start applying to schools? When do I need to start gathering money, for example? Okay, I think the money is usually is subjective. It depends on
Yeah.
you and your sponsor, right? But how far in advance do I need to start applying to schools?
Um, that's a very good question, because the mistake people make this mistake. They think 3 to 4 months in advance. No. Um, there is someone that sent me a text message this morning, and she's like, she's tired of Nigeria. She wants to come here. She's trying to come January. Now, which school can I apply to so that I can come January? This is October. Then I'm trying to. The point is, she's even like trying to, oh, I have money, I'm going to pay any amount it takes. That's how people fall into dubious activities, right?
Right.
Because if I was someone that's into all those behavior, I would have gone that, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
point is, you have to give yourself 8 to 12 months at least.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for that is because now it takes 4 to 5 months to process study permit from Nigeria alone. Then
Mm-hmm.
to get your documents, account statement, and everything. So my suggestion is if you're coming September next year, you start now. 8 to 12 months is the timeline I would suggest.
Okay. 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 8 to 12 months. So if I want to, um, like almost a year, right? So if I'm looking at coming
Yeah,
to study from next year fall,
fall is September.
fall
Yeah.
is September, so I should
So
already be starting
now,
my planning now.
yeah,
Okay, okay. So, okay, I mean, the closure for admission and all of that will be
mhm,
school dependent. It will be
yes,
depending on the different schools. I can
yeah.
see Samuel is on the calls. Hi, Samuel. Hi, hello, Samuel.
Amazing. We have someone else.
Yeah. He's not, he won't be staying for too long, but he said he was going to join in and share a few thoughts. He also, okay, Samuel, let's know when you are able to talk. We'll just go on. Okay, my next question then would be, um what are the requirements for admission? Like, what do I need? What do I need? So assume I just finished secondary school, or I just finished um graduate BSc in a country, and I want
Yeah.
to come to Canada to study. What are the requirements? What do I need?
Okay. Um, so if you want to study in Canada, again, it depends on the program you're going for. But if it's an undergrad studies, your O level is okay to see you through with a good result. They usually ask for 70% for your O level if you're going for undergrad, except medicine, which is specifically for PR and citizens, medicine and dentistry, I think. For grad studies, most schools in Canada ask for 80% average, and that 80% is last 2 years of studies. So it
Okay,
doesn't matter if you get like um, 2 or third class, but they look at the last 2 years of studies. So
okay,
the last 2 years might be really good, and the first 2 years might be bad, and ending in a 2-2. So 80% is usually the last 2 years of studies.
okay, okay. Fair enough. Um, Samuel.
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah,
I
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Samuel is joining us briefly, and so that we don't keep him waiting for too long, he's working. He just quickly breezed in, and can we meet you just briefly?
Okay. So I'm Samuel. Currently, I'm working. I came into Canada as a student. Um, I came to Canada in 2015. Um, So I stayed about a year in Toronto. I did the program in which I used to come into Canada. I did that for about 8 months, about to a year thereabout, and then I moved down to London, Ontario, and I took a 3 year advanced diploma. And then after that, I got I got a job offer to work where I finished my school. So I've been working with them for about I think 3 years now. Yeah.
Oh,
Um, yeah, that's pretty.
awesome, awesome. Can you tell us the schools?
Pardon me?
The schools. Where did you study?
Okay. Oh yeah. So when I came into Canada, I first studied at Great Lakes College of Toronto. Actually, the way I came in was that the agent who got me in, it was through, unlike coming in through the BSc, it was like coming in through. So when I was just done with high school, which is
Mm-hmm.
SS3 back home. So we got to know this agent, and then what I just basically needed for that program was just my YX certificate,
Okay.
and then I did that for about it's their I think it's their grade 12 or grade 13 course. It's a private college, so you wouldn't see Canadians there. It's just like you see Asians, Africans. I met a lot of Nigerians over there, so it's just like one kind of pathway to come in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of the reasons some people might do it is that some people have been able to get scholarship. Like I remember I got a scholarship to was it Laurel University, uh, but it depends on how much you're graded. Sometimes, like for instance, the Laurel, the scholarship I think it was a 4,000 scholarship, but looking at the total cost of study, which is 4 years, and paying I can't remember how much the tuition was, but it's
Oh,
like
so
not
it's a partial scholarship.
yeah partial. So
Okay.
yeah. So depending on some people got some scholarship, I guess maybe up to 9,000 or so. It's been a while now. I can't really remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that might be some reason why some people follow through that path. Sometimes it's just too easy. It helps you getting admission into the either you want to go to university or college. Since you've already done an education here in Canada, it's more recognized, probably lesser process.
Yeah.
Yes, you can easily get in. So that was the path I did. And originally, I wanted to study architecture, but the tuition for university was so tough. So I had to just take the one at the college, which is architectural technology. So which was 3 years instead of 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, more of the IT part of architecture.
yeah, you can say that. Yeah, so I'm working on computer rather than more of like the hand drawn. So the
Android.
other college I went to actually is called Fanshawe College. The other school called
Mhm.
Fanshawe College here in London, Ontario. Um, During my course of study, I took. Uh, sorry, just let me know if
Yeah. Go
I'm
on.
going.
Go
I'm
on.
just
No,
going
go on.
Go on. Go
general.
on. Go on.
Let
Yeah.
me
Go
know if
on. Go
I'm
on.
going off topic, and
No,
then
no,
just
it's
let me
fine.
know.
It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. So during my course of study, the program involved what they call co-op. Some people know it back home in
Yeah, I
Nigeria.
was actually going to ask that. Now that you've touched it, go on.
Yeah. So some people back home call it an internship. So the way my program worked was that you take almost about a year of co-op during schooling. So you go out, you work, and then you come back, you school, and then you go out again. But one important thing to note is that sometimes you have to reach a certain semester before they allow you to go for co-op. Because sometimes when you tell people that, oh, you could come and school and you could go for co-op, they might be thinking, oh, maybe I just take one semester and I go on co-op so that I don't have to pay tuition. Because when you're on co-op, you don't pay tuition actually. You're just working, they're paying you, and it's part of your education. So it's almost like using a study permit to work
To
full
work.
time hours. Yeah.
Mm.
So, but the thing is that they have a certain semester. Like for me, you had to reach your third semester before you're allowed to go on call. So, it's one good thing for people to know because some people might be thinking, okay, I'll just work, I'll do one semester, I'll go out and work for my second semester, but it doesn't work like that. Sometimes it might be you have to do like 3 or 4 semesters before you're allowed to go out. But the good thing is that it gives you experience. Actually, so when I went out, I worked at Kitchener, Ontario. Actually, I worked for an architect. Then I came back to London. Then I worked for my school. So it was through the co-op I was able to get a job after I finished schooling. So co-op is very important. I worked there. After I did my co-op, I went back to school. They kept me as part-time. So I was studying and also working part-time with them. And then when I graduated, I got offer a full-time, though it's contract-based, but it's full-time. And so they've been extending my contracts since then. So
Awesome, awesome,
yeah,
awesome. So, I mean, I will ask some just few questions.
that's
First,
fine.
so this co-op,
Yeah.
is it available for all programs, or are there programs that don't have co-op? So, if I'm applying, do I need to check if the program has co-op as, is it like, is it an additional feature, or what exactly? So, for a person who is applying who doesn't even understand what co-op is, what should they look out for?
Okay. So that's a good question because not all programs have co-op. So when you want to, when you're applying or when you're checking online, the programs that have co-op, they normally put it there, probably architecture technology co-op. So
Okay.
not all programs have co-op. It's just certain programs. Now that being said, even those programs that have co-op, as much as I remember then some people, the program might have co-op, but they decide I don't want to do a co-op. So there's a co-op fee you have to pay, but comparing
Oh,
the experience and the money you get on field is not close to that. So some people might decide, oh, I just want to finish this program on time. So instead of spending 3 years, I spend 2 years and I'm out.
mm-hmm.
So some people might decide, okay, I don't want co-op. They don't pay the co-op fee, even though that program says co-op. So if you don't want co-op and you see a program that says co-op, it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't qualify, or it doesn't necessarily mean you'll be forced to do the co-op. You could decide not to. Yeah, but not all programs have co-op, just certain
Okay.
ones.
Okay. So the experience you get during co-op, you
Yeah.
can actually use it to apply for your PR, right?
No,
Okay.
you can't use that for your PR. Reason being is that for your PR, they are looking at experience, the experience you've gained while on a work permit. So while you're on co-op, though they give you a work permit, but that's like a studying work permit. It's not like
Oh,
a
okay.
professional work permit. So I
Okay.
remember then, even though I had a study permit, I still had to apply for a work permit for co-op. So they call it a co-op work permit.
Okay.
So then my co-op officer, as I'm beginning to say this now, I'm beginning to remember some things. Yeah, I think my
Yeah.
co-op officer, they had to follow up with a letter to the immigration that okay, this person is going on co-op, you need a work permit and all of that. So the
Okay.
immigration issues a work permit, but that work permit is not the kind of postgraduate work permit you get when you're done schooling. So those experience don't count. The only good thing is that they help you get a better job so that when you're done, you can
Mm-hmm.
easily get a job that is going to count for your PR, but it's not
Yeah.
going to count during that period.
Okay. I mean, it's experience, and it
Uh,
will always be very worth it, I'm sure, because if as a
uh,
student you're able to work, I
yeah,
think it will be a plus. Yeah. So do you
yeah,
have any other thing?
yeah, definitely. That experience is very important. In Canada, they're always looking for that experience. That's why some people say sometimes it's hard to crack the first job you get here in Canada, but after you get one,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
comes to because I
True.
guess they need to see that oh you've worked in one area or the other. And with Canada, sometimes they don't even necessarily want experience in that field that they're about to give you the job. They just want you to have an experience that you've worked with people. They
True.
are ready to teach you. I know of a friend who studied geology. He did geology back home, and he studied. So when he came here, he did GIS and he did PSW. But now he's working in a company that makes car parts. So uh, you don't necessarily have to uh, to have experience in that field. They are ready to teach him. In fact, I think he's a machinist, and he didn't do anything related to
Well,
machine back in university. So yeah,
well. Okay. Thank you very much. I think I should go back to Jude.
Yeah.
So, Jude, can I study in Canada with a third class, or as an
Yes.
HND holder?
Yes, you can, but Then it might not be a direct grad studies.
Okay.
You could go to a college like the financial college you mentioned. You could go there.
Okay.
You could do a lot of programs in
More
colleges.
like transitional
Yeah, yeah,
studies. Okay.
exactly. And even in universities, there are some programs like a
Programs.
postgraduate
Mm-hmm.
diploma you could do. Not all universities offer that, but some do. Yeah, you can. Yes.
Okay, Samuel, let me come back to you quickly again. I know you came in through agents, right? Agents helped you in processing, and then your subsequent programs, you did the applications yourself.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
my question is, must I use an agent? I mean, can I apply by myself,
Oh,
or
yeah.
do I need to go through an agent? I know
Okay.
for some schools, I think maybe like Conestoga, for example, I think they have something about there must be an agent or something, or a consultant, a registered consultant or something. Just tell us all you know
Okay.
about that.
Okay. So when I was coming in for myself, I had an agent who helped me in processing the visa and getting the admission and all of that. But you know what? Sometimes, especially people back home, there's this mentality that, oh, you always need an agent. It's like, oh, I need someone to hold my hand all the way. But when you come into Canada, and then you begin to maybe extend your study permit or do this one, you begin to see that these things are things that you can do on your own. And
Right.
true, there are going to be some questions that you might stumble upon, and you're like, oh, I don't know what this means. You might want to ask, maybe reach out to the reach out to someone who knows better, who has done it before, or maybe reach out to a department at your school. But generally, there are kind of things that you can go and just do on your own. But now with the development in some colleges, like I know for Fansha, um, they require to have an agent. Reason best known to them, I think one of the reasons that they said because it's applicable to people coming from Africa. So maybe some people coming from some other places, they might not need an agent. So they're like certain maybe continents or countries that they say, okay, you need an agent. And I guess that's as a result of high volume of visa deniers. So they said, okay, you have to have an agent. So if the school you're planning on going doesn't require that, I think it's something you could do on your own. Just ask one person or the other who has experience in that. Okay, what do I need to do to? I saw this question. I don't understand what it means. So because now nowadays it's like with the internet and you have everything just by at your fingertips. You
Right.
can always ask questions and do it your own. But you just have to watch out for that if your school is requiring that. Like I know a couple called me from Toronto. So I think they were trying to get someone coming from Nigeria to Fanshawe College. And then they probably have experience in that because that's not the first student they are bringing to Fanshawe College. But all of a sudden, the person they were trying to process it for said that, oh, Fanshawe College say we need an agent. And unfortunately, those couples, they are not certified agents. So they reach out to me that, oh, can I reach out to Fanshawe College and ask what does it take to be a certified agent? So I did that. And then Fanshawe sent me a link to send to them. So I forwarded the link to them. So it's just to go through that link and see, okay, what does Fanshawe want me to do to be a certified agent? So for people interested in wanting to do that, you just reach out to the school and say, how can I do this or how can I do that? Yeah. But if your school doesn't require it, I think it's something that you might be able to do on your own.
Okay. 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 Good to know. So again, already, I mean, from the conversations you've talked about co-op,
Yeah.
right? Without a co-op program, I can still work, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. In
I can still
fact,
work.
yeah, I think that's a good question because, in fact, having a co-op program doesn't guarantee you that you're gonna work.
Mm,
I have a personal experience with that because my brother, my junior brother, is also here in Canada. He took business marketing and his program had co-op, but he couldn't just get a co-op.
well,
It's good to know that my program has a co-op and I'm likely to get a job, which is going to make the future better. But you also have to bear in mind that Have your program being a co-op
Yeah, no guarantees.
doesn't guarantee you. It's not like they are telling you that 100% will get you
We'll
a
give
job.
you a job.
Yeah. So you might have a program that have co-op and you still don't get a job. So that's back to the question that you asked. So it's possible too. Your program doesn't have co-op and you also get a job as well. Yeah. So some people their program might not have a job, but they get co-op. The only thing about co-op jobs is that they are more official and professional because it's in your field. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're studying and you go apply to a professional job, some might not hire you. But when you come in, if you're on co-op, they know that okay, this person is part of the schooling. This
Mm-hmm.
is a potential employer for us. So they bear that in mind. So you could still get a job, but most likely not a professional job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I should call it something like in is it industrial training they call it IT,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let me ask another question. So if I'm coming to Canada as a couple, right? So I have my wife, for example. Can my study permit allow my wife to work? Is my wife allowed to work? Jude, do you want
Okay.
to take that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so when you get a study permit, your spouse will get open work permit. That's how it works.
We
For
get
the
what?
duration, we get a work permit.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So your study permit qualifies your spouse to get a work permit as long
Wow.
as you're studying for the duration of your studies.
So then it makes sense if I get a study permit and my wife gets a work permit.
Yeah,
My wife can apply without work permit experience, right?
yes,
For PR.
yes. Let me tell you a funny story. So I have this couple, they are actually family friends. So the husband came in here to PhD studies and he brought his wife. His wife was working for a year, and after 1 year of doing PhD, I think he got like a job, and he didn't have a PR, he didn't have a work permit. So he decided to quit his studies and enrolled his wife as a student. So his wife became a student and he applied for work permit. So his wife is now the student while he is working.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is someone I know personally. He's very
Also,
funny.
also. Yeah. So will I be eligible for postgraduate work permits after my studies? And how long do I get? So I've come here to Canada and I've gone for postgraduate study, even if it's a postgraduate diploma.
Mhm.
How long work permit do I get?
So you
Are there
want to,
instances where I won't be eligible for a work permit?
yes. I don't know. You want to go first? I can.
Okay. You want me to go? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Uh, so I'll just give my own what I know about this. So I was told before I did mine that once you come to Canada, if you school for a year, you get another year of postgraduate work permit. But if you school for 2 or more years, you get, even if you school for 2 years, you could get a 3 year work permit. So that's the basic rule. There are sometimes where it might not necessarily happen that way, but that's the basic rule about that. So for me, I did a 3 year program, so I got a 3 year work permit. My brother did a 2 year program, but he also still got a 3 year work permit. So that's the basic rule. But then there are some situations of people who have done just 1 year, and for some reasons they have been able to get more than a year of postgraduate work permit. Um, I don't know what must have happened in their case. One of the things that people say is that, or one of the things I've personally heard someone say is about making sure on your passport you have enough years. Like for instance, if they wanted to give you 3 years and your passport is expiring in 2 years, they can't give you beyond what your passport says. So maybe some people, I don't know, for some reasons they have enough year on their passport, and maybe their experience from back home, maybe the immigration see that okay, this person might be of more use or one because the person I'm thinking now in mind, I know she was a nurse back home, so I don't know if for some reasons that helped her in her application, but I got to know that she got more than 1 year. So, but the basic rule is that you school 1 year, you get 1 year. But if you school at least 2 years, you get up to 3 years. Yeah, I've not seen anyone that got more than 3 years. So
Have
I
you
don't know
seen
if.
anyone that didn't get?
Huh?
Have you seen anyone that didn't get at all?
No, but I think Jude might have something to say in regards to that. I
Okay.
haven't seen yet though.
Okay. Thanks very much, Samuel. I think you explained everything, but what you didn't mention is there are some people that studied for just 6 to 7 months or 4 months. Those people still get a year. Um, so the rule of thumb is if you study for a year and above, you get minimum of 1 year. It could be 2 years or 3 years maximum, depending on the validity of your passport also. However, I know someone that didn't get, and it's also the rule that if you're suspended, like I had a friend that was doing PhD, and he was supposed to defend. After his defense, they found out that he plagiarized some part of his thesis. So he was
Oh.
suspended and asked to go and do some experiment. And so once there is suspension on your transcript, you're not qualified for postgraduate work permit again. Or maybe you go on maternity leave. I also have another person that came to Canada. She was pregnant and then she gave birth. She couldn't study. She took 3 months maternity leave. And it shows that there is a pause on your transcript or the university report to IRCC, because when you stop at a particular period, they will document it. IRCC asks the university to give them records of each international student every year. So if there's that pause between, then you're not eligible for
So
the
you shouldn't
postgraduate.
give birth while you're studying.
So what most people do, because I have a lot of friends that came here on student visa and they give birth. What they do is they do not stop studying. They continue studying. They might just take a break from the class, study from home, or but they won't like, oh, I want to go on maternity and take four months, no, or 5 months, no. You could just take 2 weeks, but you should still be registered for the term. You could take 2, 3, you could even take 2 months, but you should still be registered,
Registered.
take classes. And um, with that being said, I also think someone told me this, I'm not so sure, that you are only eligible to get the postgraduate work permit once. So after those 3 years, let's say they give you 3 years or 2 years, if you don't get PR by that time, you're required to leave the country.
Okay. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, with 2 years, you only need 1 year experience to apply for CEC, right? So
So
I
with
don't.
what is happening now, it's getting much more competitive, right?
Right. True. 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 That's true. Though.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I normally, just before I say what I want to say, just in regards to what Jude said, that's true. I've had someone else tell me that you get the postgraduate work permit just once. So after they give you, even if you go back to school, you're not getting another one.
Yeah,
Another one.
that's true.
So it's like you do it once and for all. So what I wanted to say is that I personally would advise people at least take 2 years program. I know it might be tough, especially for some people who are already done with their BSc back home. It's like, oh, I'm not ready to school another 2 year or something. But to be on the
It's a
safe
means
side,
to an end.
because you might get out of school. Even not everyone gets a job immediately when they are done,
Yeah.
and then you need that 1 year experience. So you're putting yourself in a tight corner. It's not like it's not possible, but yeah, you're putting yourself in a tight
Yeah.
corner.
Quick question: can I have admission from a school and be denied visa, be denied study permit?
When you're in Canada.
No, no, outside Canada. So I've applied to, for example, University of Saskatchewan,
Yeah.
and I have admission, right? I've been given admission, and then I apply to immigration for study permit. Can I be denied?
Maybe I can take that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the answer to that is yes, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good to get an admission, but you know, an admission doesn't guarantee anything. In fact, when you come to Canada, you experience it for yourself. You see that getting admission isn't that tough.
Yeah.
Because back home, some people, when they get an admission, they are so excited. Oh yes, I
Right.
have an admission. It looks like they've gotten their visa already. No, an admission. That's why if someone is making you think that this admission, I've gotten you an admission, it's good though, but it doesn't guarantee you a visa, not at all.
Mhm.
Yeah. So people could have admission and still be denied visa.
Okay, fair point. So I would ask Jude this question. I know you have scholarship or you had scholarship.
Yeah.
Can you maybe share some light about scholarship, right? Um, what are the possibilities of getting scholarship?
Okay, so it depends on whether you're going for undergrad or grad studies, or whether you're going for a course-based or research-based, or whether you are an international student or a PR. But regardless of what situation you find yourself, there is always scholarships.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, the most important thing is look for the opportunities in your university and apply. There's some scholarship you get before you land here in Canada if you're doing a research program like research-based masters or PhD. There are a lot of scholarship or funding from your supervisor, or even undergrad studies. There is entrance scholarship based on your WAEC results also that you
Okay.
could apply for and get before coming here. So the thing is, there is always possibility for scholarship here.
Okay. Okay. Samuel is about leaving. Okay. Thanks, Samuel.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Samuel. It
Yeah,
was
it's
really
really
nice to
great
have
coming
you.
in and speaking with you guys. Really
All
Yeah,
right.
appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing. It's been
All
great
right.
having you here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah, see
So
you guys.
yeah. So over to you, Jude.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, the question is GMAT, GRE.
Mm-hmm.
I know those are common exams when it comes to studying
Yeah.
in some places, right? In Canada, are those requirements?
Um, for some programs, yes. MBA most importantly, yes. But for other programs, no.
Okay. 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 So that's a quick one then.
Yeah.
Can you share some light on letter of explanation or letter of explanation, statement of purpose when it
Okay.
comes to applying to Canada studying?
Yeah. Yeah. So, based on my experience, I used to tell people this thing. Before you write a letter of explanation, you put yourself in a position of the visa officer. What does this person expect from me? So the first thing is always put why in a question before. Why are you taking this program? If you already have a bachelor's in engineering in Nigeria, or maybe bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and you're coming to Canada to do a diploma in mechanical engineering technology, so it doesn't follow why.
Mm,
Um, with that being said, if you have a third class in Nigeria and then you're coming to do diploma, you could explain why that is because I had a third class and then third class won't qualify me to do a postgrad studies. So I'm doing this diploma to build up a prerequisite to do. So that for every situation or any program you're doing, there is always a reason. So in your letter of explanation, you should be able to explain why are you taking the program. That's the
okay.
first thing. And then when you're explaining why you're taking the program, you should be able to connect your background, your work experience, the program you're studying, and your plans after the program. They have to align. There have to be a certain set of alignment that shows that your background correlates with your work experience, and both of them shows why this program is going to help you progress in your career, both when doing the program and after the program. Then the
Okay.
second one is the most important source of funding. You have to put it there, source of funding. So if funding is coming from a family member, explain why the family member is sponsoring you. I've only seen one case where a dad's friend sponsored the person and the person still got the study permit because the person was able to link the fact that when she was young, he has been the one taking care of their family, and
Okay.
he promised that he is going to sponsor her education up to any level. And she showed proof that he sent her money when she was doing an undergrad.
Okay.
So if that friend was able to sponsor the undergrad and masters, he went. The visa officer understood. So source of funding has to be shown in the explanation letter.
Okay.
So with that being said, the third one is what they use. They use a general word when they reply people's visa application, is that prove that the person will reply home ties. That's what they use, home ties.
Mm,
You have to show your home ties. So how can you show home ties? um the reason why I knew home ties is also very important in the letter is, um I think 3 years ago, when I was coming to Canada in 2017, I met a lady on Netherlands. She's in Regina now, and she was applying for a master's in French. Her visa was denied twice, and she posted a denial letter because she got a lot of scholarships and the visa was denied. So she posted it on Netherlands, and I contacted her and asked her why, and she said she didn't know because she got a scholarship and she's teaching French in Nigeria. But then one thing that was consistent in the denial is lack of home ties. Home ties, they stated it there. So what we did is we wrote the letter. I just told her to do something for me to get, because she graduated with a first class at Unizik and they promised her a lecturing position, to get a letter from the HOD there that if she's done with her master's, that there is a possibility that they could offer her a job there. So we wrote the explanation letter stating that the reason why she's doing this is because she wants to go back into lecturing, and masters is very required in French, and they don't have like good masters in French program in Nigeria. However, after the program, she would return back to Nigeria and take up the job offer. So that's home ties. Home ties could also be properties. It could also be landed properties you have or business you have at home. Those also work. It could also be family members if you don't have anything. If all your family members, your mom, your dad, or those that are married, wife and kids behind, those are home ties also. So like I said earlier, finance, that's proof of expenses, home ties, and the reason why you're taking the program. The final one is travel history. Um, that's also one of the reasons why they reject people. So if you've traveled out of Nigeria before, put it. But if you've not traveled out of Nigeria, it's still good to state it that I have not been out of Nigeria before. I acknowledge that. However, throughout my stay in Nigeria, I've been able to demonstrate that I'm a law-abiding citizen and I have followed all government regulations. So it is expected that when I live in Canada, I would also be a law-abiding citizen and follows the rules and regulations of the society. Just to state it there, because I've seen silly reason like travel is to they deny someone. So if all those things are expected to be in the cover letter or explanation letter, as the case may be, and it shouldn't be bulky, one to
okay.
two page, 1 to 2 page. I usually end my letter with a summary of all the documents I am uploading, because applying online sometimes is disorganized because of the file limit. You will upload documents in different sections. So I usually at the end just list in bullets all the documents that I use to support this application.
Mhm.
And that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Wow. That is a very rich one. Now,
Yeah.
I would want you to just do a run through, like just give us a breakdown. So if I am a student now, right now,
Mhm.
or rather, if I am intending to come to Canada, right, on a study permit, can you just tell us step by step what I need to do?
Okay.
I've not started anything at all.
Mhm.
What are the things I need to do step by step?
But you've gotten admission.
I've not gotten admission. I've not done anything. I'm just starting.
Okay. The first thing is you have to look at what do I have and what do I need. What do I have in the sense that what are my qualifications? Do I have a bachelor's degree? Is it 2 1 2 2? Is it third class? or is it O level I have? So with that, you have to determine what do I need. So what do I need? Is it a master's I'm going for, a PhD I'm going for, or a bachelor's degree, or I'm going to a college for or a polytechnic? So if you determine that, you write it down. Then based on that, you start searching for schools. Usually it's very, very easy to get admission in Canada if you're going for a college or a bachelor's degree. It's very easy. You would even get admission without submitting anything except your own level. If you can pay the application fees, you get admission. Where it's tough is if you're going for PhD and research-based masters or course-based masters. The reason is because 90% of PhD programs are funded.
Okay.
So you would need to have a very good undergrad studies or master's degree, and you would need to get a supervisor. That's where you start sending emails to different people, and then out of in my case, I sent more than 50. I only got like 2 replies.
Wow.
So yeah, and then yeah, for every 50 you get to. Sometimes some people are very lucky. You send one and you just get a reply. It depends, right? And now from Nigeria alone, you're even getting um, lot of professors getting emails, and because most people wants to leave the country now, and
I can
so
imagine.
so so the first thing now you've identified what you have, you've identified what program you want to do. Then the next one is start contacting people in the schools. LinkedIn is a very good resource. Please, I advise people to use LinkedIn to contact people, ask questions about the university, funding, scholarship. There are some hidden bursaries and scholarships you don't know about. You ask questions. After that, you apply. Most times when you apply also, the person might need someone in Canada to pay the application fees if the person doesn't have a MasterCard in Nigeria. But I think most Nigerians do right now. Um, so
Yeah,
apply.
but so okay, man, I believe because it's about most cards in Nigeria now,
Yeah,
because of the FX issue, they have limits.
yeah,
So it
that's
depends on
true.
how
Yeah.
much the application fee
Yeah,
is also.
so that's why it's good to network with someone that could pay the application fee.
Okay.
Then after that, when you get the admission, then you start applying for visa, which is
Okay.
another step entirely. So it's a straightforward process. It's just along the way there might be some few bumps,
Hmm.
but I believe with persistence, it's going to be successful.
Okay. So the application for visa, what documents do I need to
A
apply?
lot, a lot of documents. So the basic one, your admission letter, proof of funding. Um, in most cases, I also back mine up with maybe my bachelor's degree just to show why I'm going for this program or any academic degree I have. Letter from my employers, um, letters from where I did internship also just to show that I have this experience I'm claiming in the explanation letter. Then I included birth certificates to show that both of my parents still live in Nigeria and my siblings still live in Nigeria. That's the only home ties I have in my own case. Some people put like landed document or landed properties or business registration just to show home ties. And if the person has traveled out of the country, it's very interesting to just take a screenshot of visa stamps. Like
Okay.
if the person has been to the state, it's really helpful when you've been to the state and you return. So it means that you could easily go to Canada and return also,
Return.
or you've been to UK. So that one will eliminate that doubt of this person is not coming back again.
Okay.
Um, so those are the documents. Then sometimes if it is funded program, then scholarship letter also would help. But the most important reason why they reject people from Nigeria is either home ties or funding.
Okay. Home
Home ties
ties,
or funding.
funding. Okay.
Yeah. Because any other ones are easy to prove. I've seen someone going for PhD that was rejected twice recently, very recently. I was even shocked. But it turned out that the reason was home ties because he was living in Europe and was applying from Europe, which is not bad. But the problem why his own was rejected is his permit in the country was going to expire in 3 months before he applied.
Oh.
So they are like, so you want to escape from here, Joe? I applied from Europe, but in my own case, I had like a 5 year work permit already, and I'm like 3 months out of the 5 years. So it's like
Okay.
easier for me.
You have a choice. It's not like
Yeah,
you are being desperate to.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So, I mean, as a final, before we close this session, do you just have, apart from the many advices which you've
Yeah.
already dished out, do you have like final advice to everyone who is looking to, apply for study permit?
So the final advice I would give to everyone is please apply. If you don't apply, you're already rejecting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I will look back 4 years back. In my own case, the problem I had was finance, like finance, having a family member to prove that they have at least 25, at least at 35,000 Canadian dollars in their account. It was really very hard. I couldn't get any family member except maybe my uncle, and his account was just like $5,000. Um, but I was lucky to get scholarship. But what I tell people is sometimes it's good to apply and just explain. The explanation letter carries a lot of weight. The letter is as important as the form you're filling. And if you think the visa officer doesn't read, they don't read the letter. That's not true. They do read the letter. So my advice is please apply. And if you're using an agent, I know Samuel said that you use an agent, but if you're using an agent, please be very careful. Do not let them use fake accounts. The repercussion is so severe. A
Mm.
5 year ban and the possibility of never stepping foot in Canada again. I've had friends that were banned for 5 years.
Mm.
Even after the ban, who knows what's going to happen? So please, either you do it yourself. There are lots of videos on YouTube, lots of resources online. Go to IRCC website or meet people and ask questions. If you're using an agent, just follow up with the agent to know that he or she is not using a fake account.
Okay. I would also put a link below. So I think for most registered consultants, they are supposed to be member of they are supposed to be regulated by Canadian Immigration Consultants,
Yeah.
like a body. So I'll put a link there. So in case you want to go ahead to use an agent, you can check if the agent is actually registered to, represent you as a student or something. Because for you to actually provide a paid um, service as an immigration person, you're supposed to either be a member of a Canadian Law Society or be regulated by ICCRC. So I would put that link in the after the video in the description box for people who want to check and confirm the agent they are going with is registered. Yeah, so if there is no other thing, I think we can call it a wrap.
Okay, that was really nice.
Thank
Thank
you
you very
very
much.
much for
Yeah,
sharing. I mean, this is very rich, very, very,
yeah,
very rich. Thanks a
yeah.
lot for sharing.
Thanks.
And in case we need you any other time, right?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Thank
Okay,
you.
have a good one.
You too. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.